Imagine this with me for a moment. It's a hot summer morning, July 8th, 2014, in Bayshore, New York. You're heading to work, maybe taking a familiar shortcut through a wooded lot, a path lots of locals use to get to the ferry.
Right. Just a normal day.
Exactly. An ordinary Tuesday until suddenly it's not. Two construction workers did exactly that, took that path, and they stumbled upon something so profoundly disturbing, so viscerally horrific, it sent this cold dread through the entire community.
Yeah, the scene confronting the first responders, it was almost beyond comprehension.
One officer described it saying, "I'd never seen anything as gruesome as this. The way the body was hacked up, we didn't have hands, we didn't have a head."
Yeah.
Just unspeakable brutality.
It absolutely makes you ask, doesn't it? Just immediately, what type of monster would do this? The sheer depravity of it, not just murder, but the deliberate, violent dismemberment, it speaks to a level of malice that is genuinely chilling. And for the investigators, this wasn't just a crime scene. It was a profound puzzle, a desperate need to understand the why behind something so heinous.
And for anyone living nearby, the immediate raw terror, it just gripped the community. You could feel it. Because, you see, this wasn't happening in a vacuum, not in the public's memory anyway.
No, definitely not.
Just 3 years before, Long Island had been just plagued by the notorious Gilgo Beach murders, a serial killer dumping numerous bodies. So the horrific details of this new discovery were, for many people, alarmingly familiar. They immediately drew parallels to that recent nightmare. It set this initial terrifying framework for what was obviously going to be a really grueling investigation.
Absolutely. It put immense pressure on law enforcement right from the start. Was this related? Was the nightmare starting again?
So how do you even begin to unpack something like this? Our mission today in this deep dive is to really meticulously piece together the facts, the precise timeline, the specific locations, everything that defined this intricate investigation.
We'll be looking at the police reports, the witness accounts, the heartbreaking testimonies from those closest to the victim.
Trying to understand not just what happened, but critically, the why. Why did this astonishing, deeply unsettling thing occur? We'll explore the painstaking police work, the complex backgrounds of everyone involved, and the crucial evidence that ultimately led to a shocking arrest.
It's definitely a journey into some dark corners, that's for sure. But also, like you said, it's a testament to the dedication of investigators. They simply refuse to let a crime this horrific go unsolved.
And that initial public fear, completely understandable given the Gilgo Beach shadow.
Oh, absolutely.
But as we'll see, this particular story, while just as disturbing, it took a very different, very unexpected path. It revealed a different kind of monster entirely.
Yeah, it really did.
Okay, let's delve right into the very beginning. Back to that hot Tuesday morning, July 8th, 2014, Bayshore, New York.
Right. The day it all started.
The day started like any other. These two construction workers heading to catch the early ferry, they decide to use that shortcut, the well-worn path through the wooded lot.
A route they'd taken countless times, probably.
Exactly. But this morning, their routine shortcut led them straight into, well, an unimaginable horror. They found something that would scar their memories forever and kick off this frantic investigation.
They found a female torso. The scene was immediately recognized for just extreme brutality. The victim had been dismembered, methodically maybe, but brutally. No head, no arms, legs severed below the knee.
Just awful. Found face down, wearing only shorts and a bra.
This wasn't just a murder scene. The deliberate dismemberment, it often signals a specific intent. It could be to delay identification, maybe hinder forensics, or sometimes it's just a profound act of dehumanization, driven by intense rage.
The moment that 911 call came in, homicide detectives just swarmed the location. And the initial impression, even for seasoned officers, it was pure shock. Shock at the perpetrator's depravity.
Yeah, the way it was described, hacked up. That tells you something. It suggests a frenzy, a violent attack, not some precise surgical act.
But beyond the horror, the immediate challenge for these detectives was just immense.
It really was. The first critical observation they made. No significant blood around the torso.
Right. That's huge.
It means this wasn't the primary crime scene. This body was dismembered somewhere else and then dumped here. That single detail tells investigators they're dealing with at least two locations. A place where the murder and dismemberment happened, and this place, the disposal site.
It's critical for the timeline, right, and understanding the killer's movements.
Exactly. And despite it being a sweltering July day, maybe 80 degrees Fahrenheit, Yeah, hot. The body was found in fairly good condition. That was another crucial piece for the timeline.
Meaning it hadn't been there long.
Right. It hadn't been exposed to the elements for days.
Yeah.
It tightened the window for the murder and disposal maybe down to a day or two.
Okay, so now, put yourself in the shoes of the lead detective. You have no hands for fingerprints, no head for facial ID. How do you even begin to give this person a name? Connect them back to a life? It seems almost insurmountable.
Those initial identification hurdles were just immense, truly. Without those traditional biometrics, they had to rely on whatever scant clues they could find. Anything.
And did they find anything?
Surprisingly, yes. Close to the torso, they found some bungee cords.
Bungee cords. In the woods.
Yeah, a bit out of place, right? Suggesting maybe they were used in transporting the body or binding it.
Right.
But more significantly, about 20 feet west of the torso, they found the legs. The victim's hacked off legs.
Oh my God.
These were the first real tangible links to a person.
And there was something on the legs, right? Tattoos?
Yes, tattoos. A desperate kind of whisper from the victim herself. One tattoo clearly spelled out Angel.
Yeah.
And the other, it was a bit obscured, but it looked like GT. Though later that was clarified, it was actually CT.
CT. Okay, so Angel and CT. This was their first real lead then. A glimmer of hope, maybe. A direct link to someone's identity.
Absolutely. Investigators photographed those tattoos immediately. And recognizing the unusual horror of this crime and the public interest it would generate, they enlisted the help of the media, every major outlet.
So the story was everywhere.
Everywhere. Understandably. A chilling headline demanding answers.
This public appeal, it was a desperate move, but necessary, I suppose.
Completely necessary. It was a race against time, not just to find a killer, but to give this person back their name, to acknowledge their existence beyond these brutal remains.
You can really imagine the shock and dread spreading through the community, the limited clues, the immense pressure on investigators.
Yeah, the sheer inhumanity of it, the deliberate attempt to erase an identity. It just fueled this urgent need to restore it.
And this is where you, listening, can maybe start to grasp the human side of this. Picture hearing this news, the fear that someone capable of this is out there, living among you, maybe.
That collective anxiety, the desperate hope that someone, somewhere, would recognize those tattoos. Angel. CT. And provide that missing piece.
The pressure to identify the victim, return her dignity. It was immense. This is really where the story begins. It's unsettling but vital journey towards justice.
And the investigation took a really critical turn the very next morning, July 9th. A phone call came in that bridged continents.
A tip, but not from nearby.
No, not from Long Island. It came from halfway around the world. The police department received a call from a man named Dale Browne, all the way from Guyana.
Guyana, wow. How did he even hear about it?
He'd seen the news reports circulating online. It shows you the reach of media, right?
Yeah.
And with a heavy heart, he feared the body parts belonged to his wife, Chinelle.
Oh, no.
He gave the detectives information that proved absolutely crucial. He told them Chinelle had 3 very distinct tattoos.
Okay, what were they?
CT on one leg.
CT, that matches.
Exactly. Angel on the other leg.
Angel. Okay, the second match.
And her full name, Chinelle, tattooed on her arm, which they hadn't found yet, but...
But the leg tattoos matched perfectly.
Perfectly. When investigators looked closer at the tattoo they thought was GT, it was definitely CT. With Dale's photo verification of these unique markings, they had a tentative ID.
Tentative but strong.
Very strong. And the confirmation of his worst fears. Dale described the grief, saying that sadness, it was so thick, it's like the air just changed, just palpable.
Oh, that's heartbreaking. So Chinelle Thompson Browne, what do we know about her? Who was she?
Well, what's fascinating here, and truly tragic, is how much of Chinelle's life was centered on her family, and how that dream, the one she was building, was just so brutally extinguished.
Tell us about her background.
She was born November 6, 1986, in Cumberland, Berbice, Guyana. It's the only English-speaking country in South America,
Right.
And the culture there, it's deeply rooted in family, strong community ties. Her family said it's a place where everybody know everybody.
Sounds close-knit.
Very. And Chinelle was described as very friendly, very affectionate, just a warm, engaging person.
And she had the dream, right? Coming to America.
She did. That common, powerful Caribbean dream of coming to the U.S. for a better life. Her father had migrated years before, worked tirelessly, sponsored visas for his children.
So he paved the way.
He did. Chinelle was just 19 when she met Dale Browne back in Guyana.
How did they meet?
Apparently at a popular creek where young people gathered. Dale remembers her smiling at him. He was immediately drawn to her spirit. Said he even sat in the water just to be close to her.
Huh, that's sweet. Young love.
Yeah, he said they were young, trying to get ourselves established.
Yeah.
He loved her intelligence, how she made him laugh, challenged his thinking.
Sounds like a real connection.
It deepened quickly. Within a year, Chinelle got pregnant. They decided to marry in Guyana in their church, solidifying their commitment. Their daughter, Gabrielle, was born, the start of their family.
But then came that visa, right?
Yes, a difficult, life-altering choice. Chinelle's U.S. visa was approved, but it required immediate travel to keep it valid.
Oh, wow. So she had to leave the baby.
They made the difficult decision, as they put it, for her to go alone, leaving baby Gabrielle in Dale's care in Guyana. They couldn't risk losing the opportunity her father worked so hard for. Her dad apparently advised her to get established first, get a stable job.
That must have been incredibly hard. A heartbreaking separation.
Absolutely. For several years, she traveled back and forth when she could. But eventually, she moved to New York permanently, stayed with her sisters initially, trying to build that life.
And she had more children during this time.
Yes, 3 more children were born while she was primarily in New York. All the while, Dale remained in Guyana, raising their 4 kids, supporting her efforts from afar.
Wow, 4 children. Her motivation must have been immense.
Completely. Her ambitions were deeply tied to family goals and, above all, her children. Her father said she only wanted the best for us. Everyone echoed that. In 2013, things were looking up. Chinelle and Dale began the lengthy process of immigration for him and the kids to finally join her.
The reunion they'd been working towards for years.
Exactly. The long-awaited family reunion, their dream, all of them together under one roof in America.
But tragically, that reunion never happened.
It never happened. Her life, so full of sacrifice, dedication, cut short right as her deepest hopes were about to be realized.
It's just, we think about the loss, the sacrifices she made, the dream she was building for her family, and for it to end like this, brutally, senselessly, it's devastating.
Truly devastating. Her life, this beacon of hope and determination, just stolen.
So as the investigation into Chinelle's murder started gaining momentum, that initial fear in the Long Island community, the Gilgo Beach fear, it was really palpable, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. For residents, those gruesome details, the dismemberment, they were alarmingly familiar. It tapped into very deep, very recent fears.
You can't blame them. 3 years earlier, the Gilgo Beach killer dominated headlines, dumping bodies along the highway.
Young women, mostly sex workers. The parallels at first glance were striking. Dismembered bodies, multiple dump sites. It created this profound sense of unease, like, is it happening again?
So for the investigators, that connection was an obvious consideration, right? It must have put the department under intense pressure.
Huge pressure. To figure out quickly, is this the same killer or something else? The public was on edge, watching every move. That Gilgo Beach shadow was long.
And that fear was only amplified as more pieces were found.
Exactly. The grisly trail continued. The day after the torso, July 9th, an arm was found. In Hempstead, a neighboring county, just lying in the hedges of someone's home.
Just in the hedges.
Yeah. The homeowner thought it was female, long fingernails. But no distinguishing marks initially.
Okay, and then more.
The next day, July 10th, another arm, found about half a mile away from the first one.
And this one was key.
Crucial. It had a manicure matching the first arm, suggesting the same victim. But most importantly, it had a tattoo.
The tattoo Dale mentioned.
Yes, a tattoo of her name, Chinelle. This irrefutably confirmed it belonged to Chinelle Thompson Browne, linked these disparate discoveries. Undeniable proof.
So they're literally finding pieces of her across different locations.
They are. And the macabre puzzle kept assembling. Later, her head was discovered, also in hedges in Hempstead. Apparently, blue jays were seen kicking at something in the bushes.
Blue jays. Wow.
And the fact it never made it to the ground, it actually helped preserve it a bit from the heat, from rapid decomposition, which was vital for forensics, for confirming identity.
Okay, so they have multiple body parts, multiple locations. It sounds like Gilgo Beach, maybe, but the investigators started to think differently.
They did. Despite the initial alarm, they began to systematically rule out the Gilgo killer. They looked really closely at the manner of dismemberment.
How so?
Chinelle's body was described as hacked brutally, not with precision, but in haste and quite violent.
Okay, so messy, frenzied.
Exactly, which starkly contrasted with what they'd expect from a methodical serial killer, who might be a little bit more careful, maybe even ritualistic. This felt different. It didn't have that signature of a calculated predator. It spoke of something more personal, volatile.
That's a really key distinction, isn't it? The how tells you a lot.
It tells you so much. It's what forensic experts call a criminal signature. The public sees dismemberment, fears a serial killer. Investigators see how it was done. Hacked brutally points away from methodical. It suggests rage, passion, often meaning the victim knew the attacker.
A crime of passion, not calculation.
That difference in modus operandi, it's not just a detail, it's a huge psychological clue. It redirects the whole investigation, away from a stranger crime towards something far more intimate and terrifying in its own way.
Plus the locations were different too.
Yeah, the dumping grounds. They were outside the Gilgo killer's typical pattern, those desolate highway stretches. These were more residential neighborhood spots. It suggested a different perpetrator, maybe a different motive.
So to calm the public panic, the police actually put out a statement.
They did. Issued a press release saying they did not believe this case was related to the Gilgo Beach killer, which offered some reassurance, I guess, but
it left the possibility of a copycat, which is still pretty unsettling.
Exactly. Didn't entirely ease the fear. So by July 10th, just 2 days after finding the torso, police had recovered the torso, both legs, both arms, and the head. They were literally following a trail of body parts across Long Island.
And the autopsy, what did that reveal?
As forensic pathologists meticulously reassembled the body, the autopsy results provided the most revealing clues yet. Tragically, it showed Chinelle had been stabbed. An astonishing 39 times.
39 times? Oh my God.
That extreme level of injury immediately screamed rage, passion, overkill.
This wasn't just killing someone, this was obliteration.
It was up close and personal. A prolonged, furious assault. The first thought for investigators, seeing that, this victim knew who the perpetrator was.
So that moved the investigation definitively away from a random serial killer.
Squarely towards a personal, rage-fueled act. You can really see how the police work navigates those false leads, the public panic, using forensic details to distinguish between different types of killers. The physical evidence was starting to tell its own undeniable story.
Okay, so the Gilgo Beach connection is pretty much off the table. The autopsy screams personal rage. Where do investigators go next?
They shift focus dramatically. Now, it's all about building a comprehensive victimology, understanding Chinelle's life, who was in it, who might have wished her harm.
Right, digging into her world.
Exactly. Victimology is that deep dive. Routines, relationships, habits, conflicts, social circle, finances, everything. You create this full picture of who Chinelle was as a person because the answers often lie within the victim's own world.
And her husband, Dale, he was key here.
Absolutely crucial. He painted the picture, described Chinelle as devoted wife, mother, a homebody, didn't party. Loved her job at that big Manhattan department store, worked incredibly hard, took overtime, all for one purpose, bringing her family over.
Her life revolved around that goal.
Completely. Her ambitions were tied to them. So given her busy schedule, work, and focusing on family, her main social outlet really became her workplace.
Okay.
And it was there, at the department store, that she became friends with a woman named Leah Quavis.
Leah Quavis, okay.
Yep.
What was Dale's impression of her?
His first impression, from limited interactions, was pretty positive. He described Leah as pretty friendly, bubbly, said she always had a Bible with her.
A Bible, so suggesting someone pious, trustworthy?
That was the impression. Seemed like a good, stable influence.
Yeah.
Plus, they had shared experiences. Leah was Trinidadian, Chinelle Guyanese. They bonded over being immigrants, pursuing that American dream.
Common ground.
Yeah. And Leah seemed to be doing well. Her husband was Dominican, owned a bodega, a small grocery store. Looked like she was building a stable life, the kind Chinelle was striving for.
So the friendship grew from there.
It did. And then came an offer that seemed amazing, almost too good to be true. It would really entangle their lives.
What was the offer?
Leah offered Chinelle a room in her Brooklyn brownstone for an astonishingly low rent, $400 a month, including utilities.
$400 in Brooklyn with utilities.
Exactly. I mean, even back in 2014, that was a deal that no one would ever want to pass up. Practically unheard of.
So Chinelle must have.
She jumped on it. No hesitation. She needed stable, affordable housing near work, needed to save every penny for her kids. It seemed perfect.
And this meant they were living together.
Well, in the same building. Leah lived downstairs from Chinelle, which led to them becoming really close, sharing details of their lives, building what looked like a deep, trusting friendship.
But Dale noticed something was off, even from Guyana.
He did. He picked up on a subtle but significant shift in their relationship. just before Chinelle disappeared. A hint that things weren't as perfect as they seemed.
What did he notice?
On the morning of July 4th, the day before she went missing, Chinelle called Dale. She told him about an incident, an argument with her and Leah, and that she now desperately wanted to move out.
An argument serious enough to make her want to leave immediately?
Apparently. But crucially, she didn't share specifics about the conflict. Just that the dynamic had soured dramatically. She felt uncomfortable, maybe unsafe, enough to want out.
Wow, okay. So that piece of information coming directly from Chinelle's husband.
It focused the investigation like a laser beam. Based on that call, detectives immediately zeroed in on Leah Cuevas as their #1 suspect.
The person she lived with, the person she just had a major fight with.
Exactly. Suddenly becomes the center of attention. The proximity, the argument, Chinelle wanting to leave. All huge red flags for a personal crime.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? How does a friendship, built on trust, shared dreams, take such a dark turn?
Yeah. The trusted friend, the amazing offer, then this sudden, troubling shift. It hints at something much darker underneath. It's not just a crime story. It's about a profound betrayal.
So, Leah Cuevas is now suspect #1. What's the next move for the detectives?
They waste no time. Their next stop is that Brooklyn brownstone where Chinelle and Leah lived.
Was Leah there?
No, Leah wasn't home. But they did talk to a Jamaican couple renting an apartment right across the hall from Chinelle's room. And what these neighbors told them, it was absolutely damning. It just pulled back the curtain on Leah's whole setup.
What did they say?
They dropped a bombshell. Leah Cuevas was not the landlord. She wasn't the owner of the property at all.
Wait, what?
She had been illegally posing as the landlord, running a scam, collecting rent from everyone in the building, including Chinelle.
Wow. So the cheap rent wasn't kindness, it was just part of the scam.
It seems that way. It exposed this deep layer of financial exploitation, betrayal, right at the heart of their supposed friendship.
And it gets worse, doesn't it? She controlled things too.
Oh yeah, she maintained this disturbing level of control and intimidation. The building's electricity, a basic utility, it actually ran through her apartment.
Seriously?
Yeah. And she would deliberately unplug that electricity if she was angry or wanted to assert dominance. Used it like a weapon to coerce and control the other tenants. A clear pattern of manipulation.
So the neighbors knew about this scam.
The Jamaican couple admitted they knew Leah was cheating them, collecting money she wasn't entitled to. But they were terrified of her, afraid of repercussions if they spoke up, especially knowing her behavior with the power.
That said a lot about the environment she created. Fear and control.
Definitely. But eventually, Leah pushed them too far, started demanding even more money from the couple. They finally hit their breaking point, refused to pay, and told Chinelle the truth. Leah is not the owner.
And Chinelle found out she was paying more than others, too.
Yes. She discovered she was being charged significantly more for her room than other tenants were for similar spaces, adding insult to injury.
How did Chinelle react? Can you imagine that feeling?
She was utterly mortified, betrayed by her supposed friend. The person she trusted, who offered her a lifeline, had been systematically taking advantage of her, undermining her dream.
Knowing how hard Chinelle was working, saving for her family.
Exactly. How could Leah do that? But devastatingly, Chinelle couldn't afford to just pack up and leave immediately. New York housing is brutal. Finding a new place takes time, money she didn't have right then.
So she kept it quiet. For how long?
She kept the shock, the betrayal to herself for 2 excruciating weeks. Just imagine that tension building inside her. Resentment, fear, a ticking time bomb.
And that bomb finally went off on July 4th.
It did. That simmering tension erupted. Leah, maybe sensing something or just asserting control again, shut off the electricity while Chinelle was getting ready for work.
That was the spark.
That was the spark. Chinelle finally confronted her, accused her of scamming her, taking advantage, knowing she wasn't the landlord.
It must have been explosive.
It got incredibly heated. And then Chinelle, probably in her rage and desperation, brought up something deeply personal about Leah.
What was that?
She apparently brought up Leah's affair with another man, right in front of Leah's husband, who was there in the apartment.
Oh, wow. That's intense. Public humiliation.
Exactly. Leah became enraged, completely out of control, screaming obscenities, making threats. It got so bad.
The police had to come.
NYPD was called to the brownstone. They had to physically separate them.
Oh.
The officers resolved it for the day, got things calmed down. Chinelle, probably shaken but needing her job, left for work.
But the confrontation, the violence, wasn't over.
Not even close. The neighbors, watching all this unfold from across the hall, they provided chilling accounts of the final fatal encounter. July 5th, the day Chinelle disappeared.
What did they see?
They saw Chinelle return home that evening with her laundry cart. Normal routine. But later, they saw the cart and Chinelle's slippers just sitting in front of Leah's apartment door, seemingly abandoned.
An odd detail that becomes horrifying later.
Totally. As the neighbors went upstairs to their own place, they overheard a terrible struggle erupt from inside Leah's apartment.
What did they hear?
They heard Chinelle screaming in a scared voice saying, "Oh no, I'm sorry."
Oh, God.
Followed by the unmistakable sounds of a violent physical altercation, a struggle that lasted several minutes, and then just silence. An eerie, profound silence.
And then later.
When the neighbors ventured out later, Chinelle's slippers and laundry cart were gone. But what they did see was Leah Cuevas, meticulously mopping the floor in her apartment. Mopping, with what smelled like bleach, that unmistakable chemical odor of a frantic cleanup hanging heavy in the air.
So based on the neighbor's account.
Propelling, vivid, disturbing accounts. Detectives quickly got a search warrant for Leah's apartment.
And what did they find inside?
Their suspicions were confirmed. Traces of blood in the hallway, just inside the front door and in the front living room. And crucially, in the garbage cans right outside the brownstone.
Oh, it was in the trash.
Empty bleach bottles, rubber gloves, a carpet cleaner, several odor eliminator products. All undeniable signs of a desperate recent cleanup attempt.
Okay, so blood, cleaning supplies. It points right to her. But there was an inconsistency, something that didn't quite add up.
Right. This puzzled the detectives. The amount of blood found in the apartment, even considering a cleanup, it just wasn't consistent with someone being stabbed 39 times and then dismembered.
Not enough blood for that level of violence.
Exactly. Which suggested either an incredibly thorough, almost impossibly good cleanup job, or, far more disturbingly, that the dismemberment itself happened somewhere else entirely.
So if not in the apartment, then where? That becomes the new question.
Precisely. And you see how those small details from the neighbors, the cart, the slippers, the screaming, the smell of bleach, they become critical puzzle pieces when the main crime scene evidence is maybe limited or cleaned up.
It paints this chilling picture, deception crumbling, escalating into violence, observed by terrified neighbors.
These accounts, combined with the cleanup evidence, provided that first real horrifying glimpse into what happened to Chinelle and who was responsible.
So the evidence is mounting against Leah Cuevas. Blood, cleanup, the neighbors' accounts. But she wasn't confessing.
Not at all. In fact, she showed up at the local precinct voluntarily, pretended she wanted to clear her name after hearing from neighbors that the police had been asking questions at her house.
Trying to control the narrative. Seemed innocent.
Exactly. And she was incredibly persistent in her lies, maintaining this facade even under police questioning. Adamantly claimed she was the building owner, even showed them fake paperwork.
Fake paperwork, wow.
Yeah, flat out denied killing Chinelle, insisted they were friends, kept up that calculated persona.
But did anything slip through? Any cracks in the story?
One astonishing admission slipped out. It revealed the depth of her anger. She actually acknowledged that huge fight they had had on July 4th. Admitted she was pissed off that Chinelle exposed her affair to her husband.
Okay.
And then, remarkably, she seemed quite proud that she beat her up. Admitted she physically assaulted Chinelle. And even conceded there could be a little blood in the apartment from that fight.
Proud she beat her up. That's chilling. It's the first real crack in her denial, though. A glimpse of that rage.
Definitely. But her story about Chinelle's disappearance, pure deflection, a blatant attempt to shift blame.
What did she claim happened to Chinelle?
She claimed Chinelle had simply left the apartment with some Jamaican man, implying Chinelle was having an affair, suggesting that if anything bad happened to her, this mystery man was probably responsible.
Trying to discredit Chinelle, paint her as not the victim.
Exactly. Actively trying to smear her character. Not this good girl that everybody makes her out to be, she apparently said. Trying to create alternative theories for the police. Anything to point away from herself.
So the police obviously couldn't just take her word for it. They had to check out her claims, right?
Absolutely. Thoroughly investigate everything. They interviewed Chinelle's distraught family again, all her co-workers at the department store.
And what did they say? Did their stories align with Leah's?
Not at all. Their stories were completely consistent, unified, and powerful. They painted a very different picture. Devoted wife, devoted mother. Her only goal was to bring her family to the U.S., directly refuting any idea of infidelity or running around town. Her focus was singular. Family.
Okay, what about the Jamaican man Leah mentioned? Did they look into that?
They followed every lead, They did locate the only Jamaican male friend. Chinelle was known to even contact a taxi driver she sometimes used.
Is there anything there?
He confirmed their relationship was strictly platonic, professional, friendly, but nothing more.
But he provided some information about the last contact.
Yes, crucial information that initially seemed to muddy the waters a bit. He told detectives that on July 5th, the day she vanished, Chinelle had plans. Do laundry, then go to the mall. She wanted him to pick her up later.
Okay. Did he speak to her?
He tried calling her between 8:30 and 9:00 p.m. that night. No answer. But then, a couple hours later, he got a text message from her phone.
A text. What did it say?
It said, "I'm in the hospital with a friend."
In the hospital with a friend. Okay, that seems to support Leah's story, that Chinelle left, right?
Initially, it did give some weight to Leah's claim. Maybe Chinelle had left the apartment after their fight. Maybe something happened later. It created a moment of doubt.
But there was a bigger picture the police couldn't ignore.
The critical overarching detail was this. Despite massive efforts circulating photos, interviewing dozens of people, detectives could not find a single person, not one, who had seen Chinelle after July 5th.
Nobody saw her leave. Nobody saw her at the hospital.
Nobody. Her absence after that date was absolute. A stark contradiction to Leah's story. This total lack of sightings became more and more significant.
And this is where technology comes in, right? Where things really start to solidify against Leah.
Exactly. Leah's story about Chinelle leaving with some guy. It's hanging there, convenient but flimsy. How do you disprove that? What's the undeniable proof that shuts down her alibi?
The linchpin.
The linchpin. And it came down to meticulous police work and something we almost take for granted now. Security cameras.
Surveillance video.
Detectives systematically canvassed nearby businesses, laundromats, bodegas, anything near the brownstone, asking for any footage from around July 5th that might have captured Chinelle.
And they found something.
At a seemingly ordinary laundromat, right down the street from where Chinelle lived, they found it. The definitive proof.
Where did the video show?
It showed Chinelle leaving the laundromat with her shopping cart full of laundry, heading directly towards her residence just about a block away.
Okay, so it confirms her last known public location, heading home.
Right. But the key, the absolute irrefutable detail, was the clothing.
What about the clothing?
The clothes Chinelle was wearing in that laundromat video were identical to the clothes found on her dismembered body.
Identical. The same shorts, the same bra they found on the torso.
The exact same items. This wasn't a coincidence. It was concrete visual evidence tying her directly to the crime scene where her body parts were found.
Wow. Okay, so that video.
That video shattered Leah's story completely. Chinelle heading home, wearing the clothes she was murdered in. There was no evidence of Chinelle ever leaving the apartment again after that point.
It traps Leah in her lies, exposed by the camera.
It firmly, unequivocally established Leah Cuevas as the perpetrator. That meticulous police work finding that footage, it systematically dismantled her entire fabrication. It was the critical, unassailable turning point, placing Chinelle at her apartment building, never to leave alive again.
So the video evidence is huge. It puts Chinelle back at the apartment wearing the clothes she died in. Lee is the perpetrator. But there's still that nagging question. Where did the actual dismemberment happen?
Right, that missing piece. Investigators still weren't 100% sure where this crime had occurred, especially the dismemberment part. Because of the limited blood found in the apartment, despite the cleanup, it still puzzled them. Where was she brutalized like that? And how was the body moved?
This was the final horrifying part of the puzzle.
And the breakthrough. The ultimate smoking gun that exposed the full, chilling extent of Leah's actions. It came from her cell phone records.
Ah, the digital breadcrumb.
Exactly. Modern forensics, especially cell phone data analysis, it can paint an astonishingly accurate picture of someone's movements. Not always exact GPS, but tracking which cell towers a phone connects to, how strongly. Investigators can map a very accurate geographical radius, hour by hour.
And Leah's phone records.
They meticulously mapped her movements and revealed a truth far more disturbing than anyone could have imagined. The data was undeniable.
What did it show?
Practically every single body part matched up to her locations, as recorded by her phone's pings.
Wow. So where her phone went, body parts were found.
Precisely. On July 6th, the day after Chinelle disappeared, the day parts started showing up. Leah's cell phone was traced to Hempstead, the exact area where Chinelle's arms and head were discovered.
Okay.
Specifically, her phone pinged off a cell tower right next to the Hempstead train station.
The train station, what did that suggest?
It led to a stunning, horrifying realization. The Long Island Railroad, a major artery, connecting the city to Long Island, became the likely mode of transport.
Wait, she used the train to dispose of the body parts?
That's what the evidence strongly suggested. Via Quatis, with unimaginable coldness and calculation, apparently used public transit to transport and dump Chinelle's dismembered body.
Oh my God. That's audacious, horrifying.
Think about it. She got off the train and just walked through neighborhoods tossing body parts in different locations, casually discarding pieces of a human being into hedges, into wooded lots,
Right.
like throwing away trash.
That level of coldness, it's hard to comprehend.
It shocked even the most seasoned investigators. One detective said, it's kind of one of those things that makes you wonder this couldn't be something that just a normal person would do, right? This had to be the work of someone more sinister.
Pure evil.
Some were convinced it was pure, unadulterated evil, likening her actions to the devil himself working through her. The sheer brazenness, the lack of remorse implied in such a public yet scattered disposal. It was profoundly unsettling.
And Leah thought she'd gotten away with it.
By all accounts, she was under the illusion that she had committed the perfect crime and the perfect cover-up, cleaned the apartment, created an alibi, smeared the victim.
But her phone betrayed her.
Her phone records proved otherwise. Those digital breadcrumbs she unknowingly left behind exposed the full, horrifying extent of her actions. It really highlights how modern forensics, cell data especially, can piece together a crime, expose a perpetrator, even when they think they've left no trace.
So after piecing all this together, the witnesses, the forensics, the video, the cell data...
After 2 intense weeks of relentless investigation, the Bayshore detectives had it all. It converged directly on Leah Quavis. The brutal murder, the dismemberment, the calculated disposal.
And the arrest...
On July 23, 2014, Leah Quavis was arrested and charged with second-degree murder. Her arrest made headlines. It was all over the news, bringing, I imagine, a mixture of relief and renewed horror to the community.
Did she say anything upon arrest?
No. She exercised her right to remain silent, leaving the chilling story to be told solely by the overwhelming weight of the evidence against her.
And so we've journeyed through this truly shocking deep dive, from that gruesome discovery in a quiet wooded lot, terrifying a whole community, to the meticulous, painstaking investigation that uncovered this chilling betrayal of trust, and ultimately the arrest of a killer who used, of all things, public transit to dispose of a human body.
The profound tragedy for Chinelle's family.
Yeah.
Their American dream just extinguished so cruelly, and the terror that gripped a community still remembering past crimes. It just resonates.
It really does. This case, it forces us to confront a terrifying reality, doesn't it? That sometimes the most horrific acts aren't committed by strangers in the shadows.
No, sometimes they're committed by those closest to us, people we trust, people who wear that mask of friendship, of normalcy.
It raises that chilling question. What happens when the weight of deception, of lies, becomes too heavy?
And what desperate, inhuman measures will people take to protect their secrets? Even if it means destroying a life, extinguishing a family's entire dream.
It compels you to think about the psychology behind it, the fragility of trust, the lengths people will go to maintain a facade, no matter the devastating cost.
Yeah. It's a stark reminder, isn't it? Always look beyond the surface. Because sometimes the monster isn't under the bed. Sometimes it's living right downstairs.